Hey guys, I'm hanging out in Colorado and I've got Burke and Arda from Ariel Rider, and you guys shipped a bike to me. I think this is so cool. We're gonna get the full open box experience. It just arrived earlier today, all the way from LA. And yeah, let's just move it into the garage. I'm excited to check this out because we've been looking at the W-Class over here. This is a really beautiful cruiser. I think this will be the first time I'm going to check out the C-Class, right?
You only saw it at Interbike, I think.
That's right, right. We were at Interbike. Great job. This is why we invited... Yeah, Arda. He said he was at the gym last night, and I could see why. You're doing great. I will be weighing this. I'll be doing the length, the width, all the other specs that I normally do, but it's kind of fun to see an unboxing, and a lot of times, you know, I'm doing this myself. You know, maybe I'll lay the box on the side or something like that. Do you guys have any tips for unboxing if someone's on their own?
Like, actually, a few clients of us put a video on YouTube where they like cut the box from the sides and they just open it, flip open it, and it works great.
It's a good tip. Yeah, I try to help people. I love the color too. Arda, what are the different colors that this bike comes in?
So this one comes in this ivory color, and then it comes in a really nice pink.
Oh.
And then it comes in red and green.
Okay, well, sweet. I love it. They got the same fenders and stuff. I noticed that it seems like most of your new bikes have the integrated lights and that rear light. Does this one have the brake light action?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, almost all of our bikes has only M-Class does not have the brake light function, but other than that, all of them has the brake lights.
That's awesome. So for you guys who might be new to this, the lights are wired in, so they're going to run off the main battery pack, and then you can turn them on usually by holding the plus button, and when you do that, the brake light isn't going to be fully bright. It's just going to be, you know, a visibility sort of thing, and whenever you pull the brake lever, it's going to go even brighter. And if it's during the day and you have the lights off, it still goes bright when you pull the brake lever, which I think is really cool. It's nice to see that sort of extra safety feature built in. And you can see there's a lot of, you know, good plastic, good protection going on here. I'm not seeing any damage so far. Well guys, that wasn't very long at all. I want to thank Arda because he did most of the heavy lifting. You flipped the bike upside down, and I noticed you used cardboard so that, you know, the sensitive parts of the bike wouldn't get banged up. Do you have any other tips?
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. I think if they pull out the battery when they're flipping it over, it'll be like lighter.
A lot lighter, yeah. Maybe even if you're lifting it out of the box because the battery's...
first take out the battery, it'll be easier.
Hey guys, we're in Fort Collins, Colorado at one of my favorite shopping centers. This is Safeway. Apparently they've merged with Albertsons recently, and we're looking at some of the Ariel Rider electric bikes. This is the founder, Arda.
Hi.
Good to be with you, man.
Be with you as well.
It's been a fun day. We were checking out the W-Class earlier. That's like pure cruiser, all style. Yeah. Now we're checking out the C-Class.
Yeah, which is city and cargo.
City and cargo. Okay, you're double loaded. There we go. I like that you've got a rear rack. You've got a front rack with bamboo. It's got these cool bungee straps here. It comes with those, and they're sort of adjustable?
Yeah, they are. So whatever you put on it, you can just fix it with these ones according to its height. And we don't have the sides, so you can load wider things. And the best part is you can actually fit a pizza box here. Oh. So you don't need to tilt it, you know?
Yeah, get a little pizza. There is a pizza shop just over, actually it's in another center. But what we were excited about sharing here, and part of the reason we're doing it in this parking lot is because, you know, city, cargo, grocery getting, you know, everyone's driving their cars here. Not everyone, but there's just a lot of trucks and stuff, and a lot of times the grocery store is only a few miles away. Yeah. This is way more energy efficient. It's fun. Parking is not an issue. And then back to the weight limits. I think we were saying, how many kilograms?
Is this 30.
30 kilograms for that front, which is not bad.
Yeah, it's like
60 pounds?
Yeah,
something
roughly
like
around that.
And the rear rack, apparently like 180 pound capacity. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we can ride it. I can sit on the back and you can just... I mean, it'll be difficult. It'll be a little bit wobbly.
The handling.
Yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't recommend people to load that much because it becomes difficult to handle. However, on the other hand, if you trust that you can do it, go for it.
Well, it's interesting to hear you say that, right? Because you and your brother, I mean, he's a bigger guy, and it sounds like you were carrying him around on the rack one time.
I'm not also like lightweight as well. I'm like 210. So imagine both of us.
Yeah. Wow. And to your point, you know, this is the battery is already there, and I think the battery was like 7 pounds or something like that. Yeah. The frame and everything, everything you see here, I weighed this earlier minus my water bottle, and that was about 66 pounds. So it is a little bit heavier, and I think part of that's because the frame tubing is what protects the rack, and that's what gives it that extra strength. You know, ideally you want all the weight as low and center as possible, but the aesthetic here is really nice, and then they've created this step-through frame design, so it's a lot easier to approach and just stand over like this. That's something that really matters, considering this only comes in one frame size as well. So there's quite a bit of adjustability here.
Yeah, there's, and also that part is not only for you know, getting on the bike. Also, I want to show something. It is also to be able to carry the bike. So you can actually hold the bike from here. It is center of gravity of the bike, so it'll be easy.
Wow, yeah, that's true. That's really, it's interesting to see you lift this up. I mean, you're a stronger guy and stuff. Yeah. One of the things I always do when I'm lifting bikes is I try to take the battery off just to reduce some of the weight. So I want to come back to just how weight is distributed. We have a 500 watt planetary geared. This is a Dapu hub motor in the back. It's rated at 500 watts, peaks out around 900, up to 75 newton meters of torque is what the company says. It is very zippy. It's quite capable, and it's spoked in with these thicker 12 gauge spokes. So that comes back to like cargo hauling or maybe heavier riders. The front uses 13 gauge spokes, which are still thicker than average, and I love these rims. They're CNC'd with machine sidewalls, but they're paint matched to the rest of the frame. They match the fenders. These are kind of plastic, but they do have aluminum runners inside, so they're definitely stiffer. They don't rattle as much as some of the other plastic fenders I see, and they've got the rubber mud flaps and stuff. Even this chain cover, this is plastic, but it's going to be a little bit more resilient. And I just feel like the drive chain is fairly clean. 7 speeds in the back. Kind of used to seeing that. This is a more value priced bike at $16.99. Part of the reason they're able to keep it cheap like that is because of, you know, this is again one step up from entry level. That's Shimano Altus. 7 speeds is plenty for when you're cruising around town. And I think they've chosen their upgrades well. Like this kickstand here, it's double legs, so that's going to make it a lot more secure when loading, whether it's the rear rack or the front rack. And I love that the front rack does not steer, right? It's mounted directly to the frame. In fact, I mean, it's kind of a permanent design right here. So there's always this piece of metal here, and that's where the light is mounted as well. You could potentially take off the bamboo, but it's designed to always be there and just sort of convenient. If you're loading this up, you know, the steering wheel can kind of tip to the side. It doesn't matter. It's not going to dump your load out, and that's something that, you know, you don't always like know these things until you get a bike and you actually try it and you put some stuff on. So, you know, that's a cool feature for me, the bungee cords and everything. And I've been complaining because some of the other Ariel Rider bikes that we've checked out, they don't have bottle cage bosses, right? Like I'm always trying to bring my hydration. And this one has a little coffee cup holder right here, and it just works perfectly. Thank you, Arda.
You're not able to say anything on it.
We got it. And actually, comfort is really well addressed on this bike too. Like, you know, steel fork up here, it's rigid, but steel tends to have some vibration dampening qualities. And then these tires, these are 26 by 2.35, so 2.35 is a little bit wider. That's more air volume. I love that they have reflective sidewall stripes. They have integrated lights. You might notice that this one's kind of aimed down, and some of that just might have to do with how the rack is positioned. We actually flipped it earlier. We're messing with it. That's just sort of how it works, guys. So it's aimed down a little bit more. To me, that's a little con. You got a light. It's going to keep you sort of visible, but you might want to, you know, add another handlebar light, or in my case, I have a helmet with like a little light built into the top. I also like to wear backpacks, and I put a light on the back. They've really done a great job at the back of the bike. So here's the rear fender, and we've got a Spaninga integrated light as well, but it's kind of low. You know, it's protected. It's not going to get blocked by panniers or anything, but it's a little low. So they actually have a secondary light that's built right into the back of the battery. So that's nice. That's kind of overkill. It's nice to be seen, especially if you got your bike loaded up and you're just kind of precarious. The bike feels solid, but there is some frame flex, okay? That's usually the case when you have a heavier, slightly longer bike with some of the weight up high in the rear. It flexes just in the middle of the frame. And so I think what they've tried to do with this cantilever sloping design is reinforce it with 3 tubes. There is still some flex. You don't notice it if you're sitting down and pedaling, but if you stand up, you can start to feel the bike. It's just the name of the game. I don't know how to overcome that and still have a step through without going up to 70 or 75 pounds. And there are some cruisers that weigh that much. It's a lot. There's always some compromises. I like that this one comes in a few different colors. So we've got this like ivory. It feels like you're drawing from this classic vintage style. And you guys are from Turkey, so you spend a lot of time in Europe and in Asia.
Yeah.
Is that where you drew some of the influence from?
Yeah, I mean, first we started with the cruisers, and that was the whole goal. You know, the whole like cruiser like vibe, like the choppers and everything. That we tried to bring that back in. And then this was our first trial with like city and cargo and everything, and we thought, how can we bring the similar design elements into the game? So this is what happened.
Yeah, I think it's really, it's utilitarian, but it's also comfortable. I want to get back to that. So I was talking about the bigger tires, the steel fork, adjustable stem. So this is pretty cool. It kind of pivots up and down, and you can actually tighten this down once you know where you want it. There's a little bolt in there too. And sometimes when you're riding a bike like this, if you're heavier or if you're really torquing on it, it is nice to tighten that down. I would call this a mid-rise or a high-rise handlebar. See, it kind of brings the grips back to you so you don't have to lean forward. Padded, stitched, these are faux leather. And then we've got this really nice oversized comfort saddle with these springs built in, okay? And that actually works very well. A lot of times I'm calling out suspension seat posts as an optional upgrade, which you could do here. This is 27.2 millimeters, but I actually think that the sprung saddle works pretty well. So I'm undoing quick release here because I want to show you the saddle actually drops down pretty far. A lot of times, you know, the seat kind of collides with the rack, but they position the rack just about far enough. You can see that the bolts are touching the frame, so we're not quite all the way down. See how there's just a couple more inches, but still that's a relatively low standover height, and a lot of people want the saddle lower so they can touch the ground and so they're not tiptoeing, especially if you have a really loaded cargo bike. So I think you guys did that right. I also want to call out these extra large, really sturdy platform pedals from Wellgo. I love that. We already talked about the kickstand and stuff. It's a good setup. You've even got the bell and stuff. So I feel like safety's been addressed, utility's been addressed. I want to talk a little bit more about the battery pack back here. Okay, so in addition to having a light built in, you can charge this thing on or off the bike. And I like that because it reduces the weight of the bike, but also, you know, it's a warm day. And if it's extremely hot in your garage, or maybe it's wintertime and it's getting below freezing, that can be kind of hard on the lithium ion cells. And this pack is sort of in between in terms of size. I would call it slightly larger than average. It's 48 volt, 12.6 amp hours.
Yes, correct.
You know, and on the other one back here, the W class, you have sort of the, what is it called, the cheaper one?
Comfort model.
The comfort model. You know, it's $14.99 for the comfort model versus $16.99, but you get a higher capacity battery and all the racks and stuff. So you have this really nice, you know, stepped option set. And that one comes with 11.6 amp hour battery. So you're getting an extra amp hour, a little bit more capacity, which is really nice. And the battery position is well protected. You take it off to charge it. Let's check out the charger. You see you got that in your hands.
You have the user manual.
Yep.
And you have your charger here. You have your touch-up paint.
Touch-up paint. Look at that. This is really pretty. It's kind of like this sparkly.
Yeah.
I love that.
I call it ivory.
Ivory.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like white.
This is the right kind of ivory to go with right here. So it's beautiful, and I actually think from the side it creates a little bit more of a visual footprint, so people might see you if you're riding in traffic. And we're surrounded by cars right now, right? It's a pretty busy day. It's actually rush hour on a Friday, right? People are getting ready for the weekend, getting barbecue supplies. So I just think it's so fun. Like, take a bike to the grocery store, whatever. And if you had to take it further, you take it to your friend's house, you could always put this, you want to tack it onto the front. I thought this was so cool. We were carrying around the charger earlier.
I'm done.
Look at that. It's super convenient. Like, this is really exciting to me. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's cool. We talked about the motor. We talked about the battery. I want to explain how it activates, because you do have a twist throttle at any time. You can just juice it like a little scooter, or as you pedal, there's this Dapu torque sensor. It's inside this little aluminum circle thing here, and that measures how hard you're pushing. So this is actually a very smooth, responsive bike. Sometimes there are electric bikes where it has a cadence sensor and you're turning the cranks for a second, like one or maybe half a revolution, and then it's like, and it kind of surges. It's an on-off feel, where this is dynamic. It actually responds based on how hard you're pedaling, and I like that. I feel like it's more predictable. It's more instantaneous too, and you can override that with the twist throttle. So it's a good setup, all in all. And yeah, I think maybe I'll just jump into the display setting. Is there anything else you feel like I missed? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, how are you gonna get your groceries home? Exactly. Look at this. So we took the panniers off. I was like, hey Arda, like, let's take those off so we can see the battery pack. I wanted to show you because it does not come with these panniers. These are really nice, like canvas, leather, and this is an accessory they've got on the website and some other stuff.
So it basically attaches right onto your rear rack.
Look at that.
You actually have a sleeve for your laptop as well here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is really cool. And that, it kind of hides that it's an electric bike in a way, right? The battery's hidden and the motor is so compact. Those internally geared hub motors are they're really nice. A little bit zippy. We'll do the ride test later and you'll hear it kind of ring, but it's not bad at all. And yeah, just take one more walk around. You can kind of position this wherever it feels right to you. Again, I was amazed. 180 pounds on the back is quite significant. Do you have like a maximum weight rating for the bike?
Yeah, in total.
Yeah.
The total weight is, all in all, it should be like 420.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
that's
still
significant.
Yeah, that's still a lot of.
A lot of other bikes have a limit at like 300. Some of them 250. So 400.
Yeah, but it's a utility bike. We had to do it that way. Like, there's no other way around making a utility bike and telling people, oh, you can only carry 200 pounds, including the rider.
Well, I like that you went with 26-inch wheels because that brings the bike down a little bit, and then the shorter spokes are stronger.
Yeah.
So this is good, awesome. So we're gonna jump into the display next. So we're over here at the bike racks. It's a little bit cooler. Arta's securing the pannier on the back. And I thought this would be a great location to go through the display. It'll be a little easier to see. It won't glare so much. This is not removable. It does swivel a little bit. See, if you just kind of pull on it like that. I like how easy it is to reach. It's very simple. It's compact. It stays pretty much out of the way. But before we actually jump into that, I do want to point out that these front handlebars, they kind of drift a little bit. I've seen other electric bikes with like a little spring that sort of keeps the front wheel straight, and I asked Art about that. He said, hey, we're working on a solution. I just want to be fair, right? I'm here to review this and point out all the kind of the pros and cons, the areas of opportunity. You see it stays pretty much straight, it's fine, but the wire management is actually really good. I love how they go right through the wood and they aren't just like sprawled everywhere. And then they're also internally routed, so the cabling is pretty good. And then the brakes, I don't know if I talked about them yet. Tektro Dorado, e-bike specific brake levers, so when you pull them, it actually it forces this hydraulic fluid, and it also sends an electrical signal on both sides, which tells the motor system to cut off. So that's a really good feature, especially considering there's a torque sensor here and a twist throttle you could accidentally twist while you're getting on the bike. I usually recommend, getting on the bike and then pressing the power button here. And one of the big upgrades on this bike over here versus the W-Class, on this one you have to leave the key in the battery, right? See, that's like your on-off switch, whereas on the C-Class, it's not. Like, once the battery's mounted, it's all ready to go, and you just come back up here to the cockpit and we press this power button for a couple seconds. Now you probably can't see it like super well right now. I'm going to turn on backlighting by holding the plus button. There we go. See, we got a little bit of brightness happening, and I'm actually going to turn that up by double tapping. So here I could change from miles per hour to kilometers per hour, and then backlight brightness, so 3, 4, 5. See how it got a little brighter? That's nice. And that's the highest it goes. Then we go to the next menu, 5 minutes before it automatically shuts itself off. Wheel diameter 26, and then this is voltage, so we can go from 48 to 36. You want to leave it at 48 because that's what the battery is here. It's a 48 volt pack. And then password. The password is 1919, and that will let you raise or lower the top speed. So by default, this is a class 2 electric bike. You can see the sticker right there, which means 20 miles per hour top speed, and it has a twist throttle, but you can raise it and it gets up to like 28 miles per hour.
Yeah, 28. You can go up to 28.
It's quite good. That's nice for someone who's commuting. Maybe you have a little bit further to go to get to your shopping center, or you're using this to get to work and back. But in that case, you have to kind of ride on the side of the street. Some of the trails and stuff won't let you. At the top, we have speed, miles per hour right now. We have power level, so low, medium, or high, and that's going to go up and down depending on how hard the motor is working. Assist level, that's 3 right now. That's the default. So they start you right in the middle. It goes all the way up to 6, and then all the way down to 0. And 0 is pretty cool because you could be running the lights, and then you could just use this twist throttle to get around like a scooter and then pedal for the rest of the time. And with 7 gears, I mean, this thing climbs decently. You're able to keep up at those higher speeds. It's just enough. Then we have battery capacity. We've been riding all over the place, so we only have 2 of the 5 bars, and then the infographic itself counts as like a level. So they're sort of 6 levels, but I do recommend, again, keep this battery in a cool, dry location. Avoid letting it drop all the way down below. If all the ticks are gone, get home, get it charged to help avoid stressing the cells. And then down here, there's a trip meter. If we press the power button, it goes from speed up there to average speed, max speed, and then just speed again. And then down here it goes from trip meter to odometer and timer. So there's a lot of good stuff built in, but really most of the time I think you're just gonna be pressing plus and minus to raise or lower the level of assist. And then of course you hold plus for the lights and you hold minus for walk mode. Walk mode is pretty cool, so I'm gonna do that right now. Look at that. That's about, 3.75 miles per hour. I think it's like 6 kilometers per hour. Imagine you have this bike loaded up. Like maybe it's a little too loaded to ride and you have to cut across the parking lot or something. Like pushing it could be a little bit uncomfortable. So walk mode is a nice feature. A nice feature to have. I feel like they kind of have all the features. What they don't have is like a USB port to plug into. Sometimes it's nice if you mount your phone or something else. It's great if you can tap into the battery, but that does add complexity. And at $16.99, I mean, this is still a very value priced bike for all the features you're getting. So those are my points of feedback. Might be a good opportunity to go for a ride. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Arda?
That's it, let's go.
That's it? Okay,
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's head out.
Okay.
There we go. Just kind of walk it forward to stow that kickstand. These big tires, a little bit bouncy, and that's the comfort. It's the comfort feature right there. So I'm gonna take off. I'm in assist level 6, so it's gonna be pretty responsive. And the rattling you're hearing is just the charger inside that box. And the bike it's fairly stable. I think that comes back to the larger tire diameter. Sometimes you get a little bit of speed wobble with the bigger bikes that have the rear mounted battery, but this is feeling pretty good. And I'm gonna trade off here, do throttle mode to cross this street. Sometimes it's tough to get going if your bike's really loaded up, so that throttle is nice to have.
Definitely helps.
I think we're good. There we go. Beautiful mountains in the background there. Got the bike lane. Arda's bringing up the rear. Pretty relaxed seating position too. The rear disc brake is actually 180 millimeters, so it's a little bit bigger than average, which is kind of nice. It helps you to manage the additional weight if you're all loaded up like this. And you don't have to pull a cable, If you're doing that, it can kind of stretch and it takes a little bit more energy. These are also adjustable, so you can bring them in a little bit if you have petite hands. It's a good setup, all in all. Okay guys, from here you can see that nice plastic paint match chain cover. It's going to keep your pants or your skirt clean. And I really like that they have a bash guard up front as well as the little support for that chain cover. It should act as a guide. You really shouldn't have a problem with chain dropping off too much. And then back here, of course, we've got the Dapu 500 watt nominal up to 900 watt peak. It's a planetary geared hub motor. Apparently puts out like 75 newton meters of torque. I mean, it's definitely zippy. I like that. You've got the throttle action in addition to the torque sensing pedal assist. It's really responsive. Just make sure you're holding those brakes if the bike is on when you mount, so you don't accidentally, start taking off. There's a good variety of rides. There's a little bit of zip though, so as we pedal along, listen for that. Listen for these fenders. I feel like they're pretty well reinforced. They've got these extra connector points. Now let's give it a go. great stopping with those hydraulic disc brakes. Everything feels pretty good. In the frame, you know, you've got a little bit of that flex going on because there's a rack-mounted battery, but you can carry like 180 pounds back here, which is impressive. And it kind of makes sense when you want to free up the middle of the frame for the step-through, and so the extra tubes and stuff, it's doing pretty well. Feels pretty solid. Okay, we're gonna cut over to a bike path here, just pedal the rest of the way home. I want to point out that the steering is independent from that front rack, so it's very stable, but it can feel a little odd at first because you can't see the front wheel. So that's taken me a minute to get used to, but it works really well, and that's what allows you to carry such a heavy load. So look at this. Just one turn away and we're on a beautiful, quiet bike path. I love that. Okay guys, we're in a tunnel, and this is, you can really see the backlighting and then the headlights. See how it just points down versus a little bit further out? It's not super adjustable, but at least you've got something, you've got some visibility. Art is gonna come up here and trade me. There you go, buddy. And why don't you pull the brake lever real quick? Look at that, see how the rear light gets bright? I think that's so cool. And then the battery light, see I just pressed that button, top, and then it's got some visibility on the side, so as long as you don't block it with the panniers, I think it's pretty great, man. I'm gonna follow you. Hey guys. Very nice. Thank you, taxpayers, for creating these awesome trails so we don't have to ride on the busy streets. See so many cyclists out here, it's just beautiful. Can I pass you on the right, Arda? Awesome. Well, buddy, I think we're almost home, but this might be a good chance to just call it and
say goodbye. Finish
things up. Goodbye. You're heading back to California after this, huh?
Yeah.
These guys came all the way out to share their bikes with us. Pretty special. I'll have all of the specs and stuff that I do, standover height, minimum saddle height, length, width, everything, so you know this will fit into your garage or whatever, back at the website. Have fun out there, you guys. Ride safe. Awesome. Cool. Feel pretty?
Yeah.
Awesome.